President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania have tested positive for COVID. And the first thing I want to say is I wish them a quick and speedy recovery. There's a very high survival rate, so I think they'll be okay. Everyone is basically freaking out. Conspiracy theories are flying around as leftists and journalists are accusing Trump of faking this, and many are wishing death. And it is just the perfect example of how absolutely awful 2020 politics has been, and politics has been over the past several years. But I will say, listen, Donald Trump is overweight and he's 74, so he is at risk. I sincerely hope he does well, he recovers, and everyone in his family. Now, there's a lot of questions circulating about what this means because Donald Trump has been traveling with many people. Who else might be sick? Now, apparently, Mike Pence and his wife have tested negative. Joe Biden will be getting tested. Nobody has any idea what's going on, and progressives and far leftists are just posting about they want him to die, and it's just absolutely awful. But I think some of the crazier things that we're seeing are the conspiracy theories. There are people suggesting, I'm not going to name any of these people. I can't do it, but there are a lot of people suggesting strange conspiracy theories. The Republicans are trying to pull Trump out because his polls are so low so they can bring in someone better. And I'm like, that's the conspiracy theory about Joe Biden. But apparently the polls say Joe Biden's doing great. You know, he's beating Donald Trump. Therefore, the only possible conspiracy is that the Republicans are the ones panicking, which makes absolutely no sense. Donald Trump is he's something else. I'll tell you that. And you're not going to find someone to replace him. Here's what I want to do. I want to read you this story, some of the details we have from Daily Mail. But I want to go over, I want to bring you into the world of 2020 politics with this post on Reddit. This is an r/best of post. That means that someone wrote this comment and then everyone said, wow, this is one of the best comments ever. What this is a long-winded conspiracy theory that Donald Trump lives in a parallel reality built by Fox News. And I'm going to completely debunk this. But it is very, very relevant to COVID right now as you start seeing the mainstream. Well, I shouldn't say mainstream. Look, like Rachel Maddow and Joe Biden and all the people that matter are wishing Trump well. But there are verified mainstream journalists that are pushing conspiracy theories. So this is a perfect opportunity to break down the fake reality of this mainstream left, the Russiagate hoaxers, the Very Fine People hoaxers, all of this stuff. But first, we got to get the details on Donald Trump. So the Daily Mail reports Donald Trump and Melania test positive for COVID as they go into quarantine following news that Hope Hicks contracted the virus after traveling with the president on Air Force One. President Trump, we know this. Trump is 74 years old, putting him at higher risk of serious complications from the virus. A statement from the White House doctor said both the president and first lady are well at this time, but did not say if either have symptoms. If Trump becomes seriously ill, there are constitutional procedures that would allow Vice President Mike Pence to assume power temporarily just weeks before the November 3rd election. But if Trump suffers mild or no symptoms, the president would be able to tout his recovery as evidence that the virus is less grave than many believe. In fact, one of the conspiracy theories is that Trump is only pretending to have COVID so that just before the next debate with Joe Biden, Trump will come out and say that he took hydroxychloroquine and now he's great. Sure. They say if Trump suffers mild or no symptoms, he'd tout his recovery. It comes following news the president's top aide, Hope Hicks, contracted the virus after traveling with Trump on Air Force One and Marine One multiple times over the weekend. But we don't know who gave who what. This is what you got to understand. The incubation period is going to be different for different people. It may be that Hope Hicks got it, gave it to Trump, or Trump got it, gave it to Hope Hicks. The weird thing about all of this right now is, look, when Herman Cain passed, all these people were saying he wouldn't wear a mask. And it's like, no, hold on. You were telling us that masks don't protect us. Like if I'm wearing a mask, it's to protect other people. And that's the official statement, right? The idea is when you talk, you spit. You really do. OK, people are like, no, I don't want to. No, you spit a lot. You're spitting constantly. And so by wearing a mask, you're spitting into the mask. Right. OK, if that's the case and masks don't prevent you from catching it, they just prevent you from spreading it. Then why all of a sudden are these leftists saying, and Donald Trump wouldn't wear a mask? Oh, no, that's, comeuppance. It's like, no, it's not. It's not. It's just Trump putting other people at risk. But people are acting like this is because, Trump contracted it because he wouldn't wear a mask. I am sick of the hypocrisy, the flip-flopping, and the nonsense, because these people say this stupid BS with impunity. And if you're not on the left, you're moderate or conservative, and you even say anything that's slightly off orthodox, you're banned. They'll delete your video and they'll ban you from YouTube. But these morons can go around on Twitter hooting and hollering about stupid nonsense, and it's just allowed. Anyway, they say Hicks, 31, is said to have first felt unwell returning from a rally in Minnesota on the president's plane Wednesday evening. She was quarantined away from others on the plane, and her diagnosis was confirmed Thursday, according to an administration official. Trump then continued with his schedule Thursday and traveled to and from his Bedminster, New Jersey golf resort to take part in 2 campaign events. Okay, so we get all that. I don't want to go, they're going through Trump's schedule and stuff, and it is important. We'll get to this, because the bigger question now is, what do we do? Does Trump just do his duties? Trump has said, the official statement, he's not incapacitated. He's fine, and he's just, doing work as normal. He tested positive, but we just saw him at the debate, so it doesn't seem that he's sick at all. A lot of people who get this are asymptomatic. I don't think we're going to see anything dramatic. I mean, maybe it's 2020. This year's been kind of crazy, so who knows? But seriously, man, I wish Trump the best and his family, and I hope it's not that big of a deal. Look, I understand that the mortality rate is actually really low. Okay, it's funny when Trump says it's like a really bad flu. Well, look, there's some permanent lingering effects for people who contract this, according to the CDC data, and the survivability is really, really high. For Donald Trump, it should be around 95 or so percent. According to various charts. 95 because Trump is older and he is overweight, and those are risk factors. But it's in all likelihood Trump's going to be just fine. Hopefully, he's got the best care in the world, so I think he'll end up being okay. Joe Biden is going to get tested Friday morning following the report that Trump tested positive. Now, there are a lot of conspiracy theories. One of them is that Joe Biden is now going to catch COVID, and they're going to blame Trump because Trump wouldn't wear a mask. I love all the freaky. Listen. There's no conspiracy. Donald Trump got sick. Sometimes you get sick. We're in a pandemic. I mean, I don't know if we actually still are, because the cases and the death rates have gone down dramatically. I mean that in an academic sense, not in a declarative sense. So what I mean is we are literally in a pandemic, according to the government and our procedures. I don't know where we are in terms of actual cases and mortality and things like that. I'm not a doctor, so don't take my word for it. Talk to your doctor. I always say that. But one of the conspiracies is that Joe Biden will end up getting sick. That way they can push Harris up and say it's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. He's the president and COVID was his fault. And Joe Biden getting sick and getting knocked out of the race. Because look, Trump he's going to quarantine for a couple of weeks and it'll probably be fine. He'll come back to the debate. And then you have 2 more weeks until the election, and then Joe Biden gets sick. I don't like any of these stupid conspiracies, man. But we do have this from Devin O'Malley. VP press secretary says, as has been routine for months, Vice President Pence tested for COVID-19 every day. This morning, Vice President Pence and the second lady tested negative for COVID-19. Vice President Pence remains in good health and wishes the Trumps well in their recovery. Now, I could go through all of the fake news that's popping up, but the first thing I have to do is I have to show you this. Preface everything from one day ago, a best of post. This is about someone claiming that Trump lives in a paranoid alternate reality created by Fox News. This is just absolutely not true. This is actually, ironically and paradoxically, proof the left lives in an alternate reality created by fake news. And I have proof. I'm going to show you. Let me read you this comment. So this guy, very original name on Reddit, with 4,433 upvotes says, okay, my initial comment was kind of to be funny and get upvotes, but I'm going to be real here because I think this is more important than internet points. This is basically the same. There is a difference of, I don't know what he's trying to say there. I'm going to skip that. He says, the event you're describing in 2001 after 9/11 is that Fox started claiming to be the only fair and balanced source of news, but they weren't. They were preaching hate because it sold better during commercials. They know their ratings. They know what sells. They know their audience because they made their audience. Every year they got bolder and more blatant with their lies because they didn't have to be honest during their entertainment shows. Only during the actual news, 10 p.m., I think, they kept winning in court when challenged because free speech. I'm going to stop right there. It's actually the inverse. Fox News daytime is actually straight news. Brett Baer and several other people, but I give a shout out to Brett Baer because he's like a legit newsman. It's actually their primetime shows that are opinion shows that have been questioned, things like Bill O'Reilly. He goes on to say, the most infuriating part is that free speech means you can share unpopular opinions without retribution. Outright lying is actually not covered under free speech. That's actually not true. I'm pretty sure free speech does cover lying, just not for material gain when you defraud someone. When Obama started running, they made S up, not because he was black, but because he was a Democrat. Him being black just allowed the audience to believe it because intuitively they were, I'm not even going to repeat what this guy's saying, but, you know, he's basically saying that Fox News viewers are racist. Making S up worked to rile people up, even if it was a direct contradiction of what was said in the week prior. Angry people have short memories. Harboring anger actually inhibits your ability to think rationally. That's true. It's a psychological phenomenon. I'm not sure if they figured this out by chance or intent, but they know it now. The continued anger stoking and fear mongering is much like Facebook's dopamine targeting. Exactly. What the left doesn't realize is that, yes, when you're angry, it does inhibit your ability to think rationally, and it actually inhibits your ability to learn. This is something very important that so I've been skateboarding my whole life, and a lot of skateboarders get really angry, and I would always have to tell them, like, look at this research. By getting angry, you are hurting yourself. You need to calm down. You need to stop and think and be rational. Otherwise, you're never going to advance. What they don't realize is that, I mean, right now they're wishing death on the president. The hate has blinded them. All of these mainstream news outlets hate so much they can't think rationally. And that's unfortunate. But it's the left. And that's why you get moderate. Look, listen. You ever see a picture of me I've taken with somebody? They're like, man, Tim doesn't smile. Yeah, because I'm just like kind of, whatever. A bit nihilistic in that sense. And people say, Tim doesn't emote enough. I don't get angry. I learn to control my emotions and not have outbursts. It doesn't mean I'm lacking emotion. It just means I try to be calm and rational because I understand the importance of thinking clearly, not getting very angry. But you've probably seen me get angry on my show. He says, your base needs an enemy to channel their anger. People rally around the cry to defeat an enemy, just like Donald Trump. Democrats are no longer wrong. They're now evil, and they want to destroy America. Never mind how absolutely ridiculous it is for any politician to actively want to destroy the democratic process. Like Trump, are you saying that why would Trump want to destroy the democratic process? They don't understand. They're living in this fractured reality. And I've got proof. Just wait for it. Now you have someone running on the platform created by this artificial reality. Not only is he good at staying on message of the alternative reality, he's convincing and brings the ridiculous notions into the mainstream. Nobody outside of Fox before this knew of the alternative reality, so they didn't even know where to begin to fact check. It's just patently absurd. It was all too fast. From tradition and for legal purposes, you can't just call someone a liar when they lie. They do it all the time. They call Trump a liar all the time without proof of his intent. So the media use gentle language, blah, blah, blah. It's not true. People get confused and don't know what to believe, so they go to the only place with the answers, the internet. Unprecedented disinformation ensues. However, this is not unlike the propaganda in Germany. Basically, S is bad. It's these people's fault. Let's hate them. Trump gets elected. Same testing of the waters happens with government now. Can we fire people that say things we don't like? Yep. Can we hide evidence of crimes to get here? Yep. S looks like we might get caught. The GOP benefits from this. Now, here's where it gets glorious. The testing of the waters was done in Germany, too. Every failure of a check and balance emboldened someone seeking power. The peak before S got bad in Germany was the night of the long knives. I'm genuinely terrified Trump will use the Proud Boys to do this here amid the confusion of the election. After this point, there is no democracy. It's a dictatorship. If you are paying attention to the rest of the world, it's itching for a big war again. But there are nukes now. Vote like the world depends on it because it does. It effing does. Paranoid, insane delusion. This was on the front page of one of the most prominent social media websites. Okay, let's play some games. Here's a post from Aged Like Milk. Donald Trump calls coronavirus Democrats' new hoax. Juxtaposed with Donald Trump tweeting, we have tested positive for COVID. And they're all laughing like Donald Trump thought COVID was a hoax. We're so smart. It's all the right wingers who live in a paranoid reality that was created by Fox News. AP fact check. Biden distorts Trump words on virus hoax. The facts. Trump actually says the phrases coronavirus and their new hoax at separate points. Although his meaning is difficult to discern, The broader context of his words shows he was railing against Democrats for their denunciation of his administration's response. Donald Trump never called coronavirus a hoax. These people live in a fractured alternate reality because these news outlets realized they could manipulate them for cash. You want to criticize Fox News? Please criticize Fox News. I don't care. I'm not a fan. Brett Bayer's fantastic because that's straight news. And Tucker Carlson is also fantastic. Probably one of the best news guys and opinion. It's news and opinion on TV. Not a fan of Hannity. Not a fan of Ingram. Not a fan of a lot of what Fox does. But their daytime stuff is boring and straightforward. Tucker's all right. They got their problems. But they've long since gotten rid of some of their, not as good individuals. I'll just leave it at that without getting too disrespectful to people I'm not a fan of. But come on, Rachel Maddow, Russiagate for 3 years. Look, this is not unique to Fox News. And anybody who thinks it is lives in a paranoid delusion. Even conservatives are ragging on Fox News. Even Trump is ragging on Fox News. And now I bring you to the best part from Real Clear Politics. March 23rd, Fauci. The response of the Trump administration has been impressive. I can't imagine anybody could be doing more. Bravo, Dr. Fauci. Dr. Anthony Fauci says White House Coronavirus Task Force is working around the clock to fight the coronavirus outbreak in an interview with Mark Levin on Fox News. So it was Fauci just riling people up and lying? Fox News has their narratives. Fox News wants to have a certain kind of person on their show. Last night, I had the DC Riot Squad. So this is a handful of people who have been covering riots. So you've got Richie McGinnis, Jorge Ventura, and Shelby Talcott. And they were telling us, they've seen the Proud Boys beat people up pretty bad. And they're not, particularly partisan. They're just there to cover the news, even though they work for the Daily Caller. They talked about how certain networks wouldn't have them on because highlighting Antifa violence was bad for their narrative. And Fox didn't really want to have them on either because they ended up getting arrested. Jorge and Shelby got arrested, and that wasn't good for the narrative either. So yes, they all do it. And anybody claiming that only your side does it is lying. I'm even self-critical when I point out, dude, I rag on Democrats all day. That's why you got to go to other people for other opinions and other views, because I'm just one person with I have my own biases and I have my own opinions, and there are things I think are more important, and I think the Democrats are bad, and I think these people in the media are lying to us. I think Donald Trump is not that bad. I think he's done some things that are okay. I think he's done a pretty decent job on COVID, and my opinion is based on the statements of Dr. Fauci. And Fauci's been critical of Trump as well. That's why I say he's done okay. And the left takes clips of me and they're like, look, he's praising Trump. Yeah, Fauci did. They live in a paranoid delusional state. If you can't accept that your side is at fault in a lot of ways, then you are lying to yourself. This includes the right and the left. However, in my personal opinion, it is mostly the left. And the bigger problem is that the left is all of the establishment cultural institutions. So when you have ABC, NBC, CBS, New York Times, Washington Post, all of them playing this sick game. I'm like, I don't care about Fox News being one channel. I don't care. I care about the fact that our entire news industry has become corrupted by you lunatics who think you're morally superior to everyone else. I bring you now to the glory of the COVID conspiracies. This person, I don't know who this is, just a random Twitter user that someone was sharing. I'm making a list of possible reasons why setting up a fake illness and recovery right before an election could help Trump's campaign. Avoiding the next two debates? No, Trump won the debate. Claiming COVID is no big deal? Yeah. Easing the minds of older conservative voters who may be afraid to vote in person. If Trump, yeah, that's a good point. Avoiding new debate rules. Their mic cut rule. Getting sympathy. Distracting from issues. Oh, yeah. Sending liberals into a fury. Making liberals look like hypocrites. Shaking up the race at a time when he's losing in the polls. Throwing a Hail Mary at the last minute. I absolutely love it. Monica Tard says, must admit to being staggered by the number of people here, including journalists, saying Trump's COVID diagnosis is fake. The reason why I highlight this tweet from Monica instead of any one of the other tweets I've seen from verified journalists who are pushing conspiracy theories is for two reasons. One, I actually don't want to post what they're saying out of fear that YouTube would probably punish me for showing it because they're nuts. I'll give you a light example, saying that they want to replace Trump with Pence because Trump is losing. I also don't want to get into a flame war with these people on social media, but we do not have a functioning press at this time. We don't. The other day, I was highlighting how CNN said Fox News is running pro-Trump propaganda after the debates. MSNBC did the exact same thing. You're not being told the truth by these news outlets for the most part. I would say a lot of the basic news is fine, but when it comes to politics, it's all just word vomit, garbled lies. Donald Trump is sick. He said it. He tweeted it out that he's got coronavirus. They tested positive for it. He's not incapacitated. In fact, he seems to be rather spry and he's probably fine. I don't know what will end up happening. I wish him the best, but I can tell you this. The likelihood this is a grand conspiracy that Trump is throwing a Hail Mary and faking an illness is just absolutely ridiculous. Come on, you know? These people just live in this fantasy delusional state, and it's shockingly annoying. Now, BuzzFeed wrote this really hilarious article. Well, it's a really hilarious title saying, I am the politics editor, and I have absolutely no idea what happens next. I am not going to pretend to have any more answers right now. Yes, when I saw this, I was like, BuzzFeed admitting they don't know what's happening, or I should say BuzzFeed not knowing what's going on or what's happening is not a surprise, to be fair. It's actually par for the course. However, I'm just being a jerk. Matt Berman brings up a bunch of interesting questions. Notably, what happens to the campaign? Nobody knows. Where do we go? Does Trump stop campaigning for a couple weeks? He's going to have to. Will he recover in time for the debates? We don't know. Who else could be exposed? Good question. Trump has traveled with many people. What happens to the election? Many people have already voted. What happens if Trump actually does become incapacitated or, heaven forbid, he actually dies? People have already voted. What? Yikes. No idea. And we like very, 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 very unlikely to happen. But, you know, I'm wishing them the best. What should we think about pundits who tell us what this really means for the election? Could this have any impact on who people actually decide to vote for? Who knows? Voters' minds have seemed very made up for months now. Yeah. So I respect the position of saying, I don't know. I'm sick and tired of people telling you, this is what, you know, I know for a fact this is what will happen. Look, I often come out and say, here's what I think about this and here's where I think it will go. And I think that's fine. Many other people do the same thing. But those that come out definitively saying, Donald Trump's going to lose, man, you're so dumb. I did a video where I said there may be a red wave. A red wave might be coming in November. And all these lefties started hooting and hollering and like yelling like, Tim's so dumb. He thinks Republicans are going to win. And I'm like, dude, I said maybe. The point of the video is we don't know what's going to happen. And here are some factors to consider as to why Republicans might actually sweep. And many people have brought this up. It's also likely, if you look at the polls, that's not going to happen. I don't come out and make hard definitive statements like Trump is going to win in a landslide. Guaranteed. There are certain news events where I say, I think this suggests Trump will win in a landslide. We'll have to wait and see. I get criticized by many people for saying it in my videos. I guess we'll have to just wait and see. You know, who knows what's going to happen? Yet because I'm like, here's why I think this lends itself to this idea. The other side says Tim's making wild and insane predictions. Everybody needs to shut up. And I'm talking about the pundits, okay? Y'all should actually speak up. But the pundits need to chill out. Drop the conspiracy theories. The president has coronavirus. We're going to sit back and pray for his safety. I know, unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are doing the exact opposite. So if you're somebody who believes in the power of thought and prayer, and I say thought and prayer because I'm not just talking about religion. There's also the spiritual new age, just sending your energy out there. Y'all better be thinking as hard as possible and praying twice as hard. You know why? Because the other side is praying twice as hard for harm. And not all of them, just the real crazy people. But who knows? I wouldn't put it past them. Anyway, I'll leave it there. And again, I'll say it. I seriously hope the president is going to be fine. And we'll see how things play out. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out. And I will see you all then.